Have you ever heard of the cult of Saturn? No, I'm not talking about astronomy or mere historical curiosity, but something much deeper, darker, and rooted in rituals that span millennia. What lies behind this name is not just a planet but a symbol of power, control, and hidden pacts. Since ancient times, Saturn has been revered as an entity that dictates the rules of time, death, and transformation. And what if I told you that this cult has not only survived but still influences society today? If you think you've seen everything about esotericism and occultism, get ready for an unexpected journey. Ancient civilizations did not see Saturn merely as a distant celestial body. To them, it was a powerful, cruel, and just deity that demanded sacrifices and rituals in exchange for its blessings. If you've ever heard of invocation rituals, secretive cult sacrifices, and enigmatic symbols scattered across temples and modern structures, know that many of them have direct connections to this celestial enigma. You might think these are just myths of the past, but the truth is that Saturn's symbolism has infiltrated religions, corporations, and secret societies. What's behind it all? Let's explore every detail. Have you ever wondered why the symbolism of the Black Cube appears in various cultures? Or why Saturn's day, Saturday, carries remnants of this cult? And why did ancient civilizations believe that Saturn was a black sun capable of illuminating the world before the arrival of the sun we know today? There are more things between heaven and earth than we imagine, and if you're willing to dive into this hidden knowledge, you'll see that certain truths have been kept from humanity. Are you ready to face what has been left in the shadows? From ancient human sacrifice rituals to modern symbols present in religious temples, films, music, and even corporate culture, everything seems to point to a single origin: the cult of Saturn. Esotericism teaches us that nothing happens by chance, and occultism gives us the keys to understanding these hidden messages. But don't worry, you don't have to be an initiate to grasp these mysteries. All it takes is a keen eye to see how these symbols are right in front of us, shaping beliefs, behaviors, and even the fate of humanity. You can choose to ignore this knowledge and keep believing these connections are mere coincidences, or you can open your mind to understand how the cult of Saturn might be present in your life without you even realizing it. If you want to understand the power of rituals, entities, and the forces that shape the world behind the scenes, then you're in the right place. Throughout this study, you'll see that nothing is as simple as it seems. This is not a tale of fiction but a reality that has persisted for thousands of years. Shall we begin? Saturn was never just a planet in the eyes of the ancients. From the earliest times, it was considered an archetype of power and mystery, associated with time, death, and transformation. Occultism has always attributed to it an energy of limitation and structure, often representing it as a stern entity that exacts a price for every wish granted. Pacts with Saturn were no trivial matter. Those who submitted to its rules had to be prepared to pay the price. Its influences can be seen in religions, cults, and even in Gnostic doctrines that view Saturn as a guardian of forbidden knowledge. Ancient civilizations such as the Babylonians and Sumerians worshipped Saturn in various ways. To them, this cosmic force not only determined the fate of men but also imposed cycles of destruction and rebirth. These people believed that invocations and rituals could appease this force and grant protection. It's no coincidence that Saturn has been associated with the concept of time and finitude. Many esoteric orders still follow this tradition, as they understand that true power lies not only in the visible but also in the forces that govern destiny in dimensions beyond our perception. When we look at mythology, Saturn appears as an entity that devours its own children, a metaphor for time consuming everything that exists. This image resonates across multiple cultures, and we still see reflections of it today. Those who understand the power of invocation and the cult of Saturn know that this archetype is not merely a mythological figure but a living representation of an energy present in the world. Many believe that secret societies preserve this knowledge and use its principles to exert control over humanity, dictating behavioral patterns and establishing dogmas. Esotericism teaches us that Saturn rules order but also restriction. For those who wish to understand the secrets of this entity, studying ancient symbols and rituals can unlock new understandings. Many occultists claim that understanding Saturn's power is essential for any serious practitioner, as it represents the key to unraveling the mysteries of time and matter. Gnosis shows us that by understanding these occult laws, we can transcend the limitations imposed by the material plane and access knowledge beyond the veil of reality. Thus, it is no coincidence that many spiritual and occult traditions continue to revere Saturn. Whether through pacts, invocations, or secret rituals, this entity remains present in human history. Whether in the symbolism of skulls and bones, the use of the black cube, or the very idea of destiny as something inevitable, Saturn continues to exert its influence. But does all of this truly end in antiquity? Or is the cult of Saturn still active today? The cult of Saturn is older than most people imagine. Even before the Greeks called him Kronos and the Romans worshipped him as Saturnus, civilizations like the Sumerians and Babylonians were already paying homage to this entity. To them, Saturn was a god associated with time, fate, and the eternal cycle of destruction and rebirth. The priests of these cultures performed invocation rituals to gain knowledge and favors from this being, often through pacts and sacrifices. Esotericism teaches us that these practices did not disappear, they merely took on new forms throughout history. One of the most intriguing aspects of the cult of Saturn is its connection to sacrifice. In ancient times, it was believed that in order to receive this god's blessings, something of great value had to be offered. In various cultures, this meant human sacrifices, especially of children. This dark ritual is reflected in the myth of Kronos, who devoured his own children to prevent them from overthrowing him. Occultism suggests that these rituals had a greater purpose, to open portals to the supernatural and ensure the prosperity of kings and priests who understood the hidden mechanics of the universe. The Romans, for example, celebrated the festival of Saturnalia, an annual celebration dedicated to Saturn. During this period, social rules were inverted, and slaves and masters temporarily switched roles. Saturnalia was seen as a moment of freedom and controlled chaos, reflecting the duality of the god himself, the one who brings order but also destruction. This festival was filled with esoteric symbols, and some scholars suggest that its practices inspired certain occult ceremonies that persist today in secret orders and initiatory societies. Saturn's connection to time also has deep Gnostic implications. Some branches of Gnosticism believe that Saturn represents the limitation imposed on man by matter, preventing him from achieving spiritual enlightenment. To escape this cycle of imprisonment, one had to understand the secrets of time and hidden energies. This explains why so many alchemists and occultists throughout history dedicated themselves to deciphering Saturn's mysteries. Understanding its cycles was essential for those seeking immortality or ascension beyond the physical world. Even today, remnants of this cult can be seen in various traditions. Saturday, for example, is a day associated with Saturn in many cultures and religions. In Judaism, the Sabbath is a sacred time of rest and connection with the divine, reflecting Saturn's influence of control and restriction. Saturn's influence is not only found in religious texts but also in corporate symbols, architecture, and even popular culture. But what really happened to this cult? Did it disappear, or did it simply change its form? One of the most controversial theories within esotericism and occultism suggests that Saturn was not always just a distant and dark planet. Some traditions believe that in ancient times, it was a black sun, a celestial body that emitted a different kind of light from the one we know today. Ancient civilizations, such as the Egyptians and Sumerians, referred to a primordial sun that illuminated the earth before the arrival of our current Sunday. Could it be that this sun was actually Saturn? This hypothesis gains strength when we analyze ancient myths that describe cosmic cataclysms and drastic changes in the sky. Some versions of this theory suggest that Saturn's light was a purple or reddish glow, a spectrum different from the golden yellow of the current sun. This light would have shaped the perception of the earliest civilizations about divinity and cosmic order. The fall of this black sun would have marked the beginning of a new era, a catastrophic event reflected in myths of floods and global destructions. Gnosis teaches us that these cosmic changes may have been manipulated by hidden forces that used the event to restructure the world according to their own rules. Many ancient depictions show Saturn surrounded by rings that resemble a halo, almost as if it still carried remnants of its former glory as a sun. In occultism, it is believed that certain rituals seek to reconnect with this primordial energy, using symbols and sacred geometries based on Saturn's ring structure. Some modern cults perform invocations to entities associated with this ancient light, seeking to access knowledge that was lost after the solar regime changed. This type of practice is often kept secret, as it is believed that its use can alter one's perception of reality. The idea of Saturn as a black sun also appears in Hermetic and alchemical texts. In various traditions, the black sun symbolizes hidden enlightenment, the forbidden knowledge that can only be accessed by those who transcend conventional barriers. For initiates, understanding the mystery of the black sun is to unravel the secrets of the universe and existence itself. Some occult orders believe that by activating certain frequencies and symbols associated with Saturn, it is possible to restore this ancient knowledge and apply it in rituals of power and manifestation. But is this theory merely an esoteric delusion, or is there a hidden truth behind it? Modern astronomy tells us that Saturn was never a sun, but if we look at myths, ancient rituals, and the symbolism present in various traditions, we see a persistent insistence on this concept. Whether real or metaphorical, the fact is that Saturn carries a symbolic weight that transcends generations. But this is not the only peculiarity of this planet. If Saturn was once a black sun, then why does its north pole present such a peculiar geometric enigma? At Saturn's north pole, there exists a phenomenon that baffles scientists and fascinates occultists, a hexagonal-shaped storm. This perfect structure, discovered by NASA's space probes in the 1980s, defies conventional explanations. How can a natural formation exhibit such a precise and symmetrical geometric pattern? While scientists attribute the phenomenon to atmospheric dynamics, scholars of esotericism and the occult see in this shape an indication that Saturn is not just a planet, but a living symbol of hidden forces. The hexagon is not merely a mathematical pattern, it appears in rituals, pacts, and invocations throughout history. The hexagon is a highly significant shape within sacred geometry. It appears in ancient symbols of power, from the Seal of Solomon to patterns in esoteric architecture. In occultism, the hexagonal shape is associated with the balance of cosmic forces, the manifestation of energy, and the creation of dimensional portals. Could Saturn's hexagon be a gateway? Some mystical schools believe that this formation might be the visible representation of an energy vortex, connecting Saturn to other dimensions. If we consider the importance of this planet to ancient civilizations, this theory becomes even more compelling. For the Gnostics, Saturn has always been a symbol of the limitations imposed by matter. Its hexagon could represent the invisible structure that traps humanity within a controlled reality. Some theories suggest that hidden forces use this pattern to manipulate collective consciousness and establish dominion over Earth. This would explain why certain secret orders revere Saturn and incorporate the hexagon into their rituals and symbols. Whether in the layout of temples, the architecture of megacorporations, or the symbolism present in various cultures, the hexagon repeatedly appears as a sign of control and influence. If we consider that many invocation rituals use specific geometric symbols, we may question whether Saturn's hexagon is an energetic structure influencing the physical world. Esotericism teaches us that symbols are more than mere images, they carry frequencies and power. The hexagon could be a reflection of Saturn's energy manifesting in our universe in a tangible way. This storm is not just an astronomical curiosity but a mystery that connects science, spirituality, and occultism. Have certain societies already understood and harnessed this connection for their own purposes? The presence of the hexagon in Saturnian mysteries raises many questions. If this shape appears in religious structures, power symbols, and occultist patterns, could there be a lost knowledge linking all of this together? The fact remains that Saturn continues to be one of the most revered planets in both ancient and modern traditions, always carrying the weight of esotericism and the supernatural. But this is not the only hidden mark of Saturn in the modern world. One of its most enigmatic symbols continues to appear across cultures, the mysterious Black Cube. The Black Cube is one of the most intriguing symbols associated with Saturn. It appears in various religions and esoteric traditions, from the Jewish tefillin to the Islamic Kaaba. What do these practices have in common? For occult scholars, the Black Cube represents the prison of matter, the limitation imposed by time, and the necessity of transcending the physical world. In many rituals, the presence of this symbol is an indication of connection with higher, or lower, forces, depending on one's perspective. Is the Black Cube merely a symbol, or an energetic artifact with hidden functions? In the corporate world, the Black Cube appears disguised in logos and architectural designs. Banks, major corporations, and even political institutions incorporate this symbolism, often subtly but consistently. Is this merely a coincidence, or a way to exert hidden influence over humanity? Some believe that the Black Cube represents the power of the elites and the perpetuation of control over the masses. Occultism teaches that symbols carry energy and intention, and the repeated use of the Black Cube in strategic locations may indicate something far deeper than simple aesthetic design. The cube is also one of the primary archetypes in sacred geometry. It represents the solidity of matter, the fundamental structure of the universe, and the limits imposed by physicality. In certain Gnostic traditions, the Black Cube is a reminder that we are trapped in an illusory world, governed by forces that keep humanity imprisoned in a limited reality. Only those who understand the secrets of this symbolism can escape this prison. This explains why many initiatory orders study the Black Cube in their teachings, as it contains keys to spiritual liberation. The connection between the Black Cube and Saturn is not arbitrary. The planet itself, with its rings and its symbolism of restriction, represents the prison of time and matter. Some theorists suggest that the Black Cube is a representation of Saturnian energy crystallized on Earth. This would explain why so many religions have adopted this symbol in their practices. Whether in meditation, prayer, or invocation rituals, the Black Cube seems to be present in key moments of human history. What does this mean for those still seeking to understand Saturn's hidden mysteries? The fact that the Black Cube appears in so many traditions and structures around the world suggests that there is a secret knowledge behind it. But what is the true purpose of this symbolism? Is it a reminder of the prison of matter or a portal to something beyond? One thing is certain: Saturn continues to exert an occult influence over humanity, whether through symbols, pacts, or secret rituals. But there is an even darker aspect to this connection. Ancient Saturnian worship required sacrifices. And for some cultures, this practice never completely disappeared. The cult of Saturn has always been linked to sacrificial rituals. Since antiquity, the belief that a blood offering could appease this relentless god has spanned generations and civilizations. The Carthaginians, for example, sacrificed children in the name of Baal Hammon, a deity widely associated with Saturn. According to historical accounts, these rituals were brutal and involved immolations in large fires. But were these practices truly abandoned? Some occult theorists believe that the cult of Saturn is still alive, disguised as symbolic rituals performed within exclusive circles. The myth of Kronos devouring his own children is not just an allegory for time consuming everything, it represents a continuous pattern of sacrifice demanded by this entity. Within esotericism, there is a school of thought that argues energetic sacrifices still occur, only in different forms. Mass public events, tragedies, and even grand spectacles could be laden with Saturnian symbolism, functioning as modern-day offerings. Whether through hidden rituals or the unconscious collective itself, Saturn's influence over sacrifice has never completely disappeared. Gnosticism teaches us that Saturn represents the demiurge, the entity that traps human souls in the cycle of material existence. This concept suggests that certain rituals do not only serve to invoke entities or ensure prosperity, but also to reinforce this control. In the modern world, this could manifest through practices that drain humanity's emotional and psychic energy. The obsession with tragedies in the media, cycles of fear and control, and the ritualization of collective events may all be echoes of the ancient cult of Saturn, adapted for modern times. For those who deeply study occultism, the rituals of Saturnian invocation are not merely symbolic. Some believe that entities linked to this archetype still respond to specific calls. Whether through hermetic practices or pacts established in secret circles, the pursuit of contact with these forces is ongoing among individuals who seek to understand and manipulate Saturn's power. The question remains, what is the cost of such knowledge? As in the ancient myths, every gift granted by Saturn seems to demand something in return. The most unsettling aspect is that when analyzing certain elites and secret societies, Saturnian symbols frequently appear in their traditions. The presence of the Black Cube, the selection of specific dates for major events, and even the use of particular colors and geometric shapes in modern rituals may indicate that the cult of Saturn still exerts influence over humanity. But is this merely a relic of the past, or is there an active force shaping the world's fate in secrecy? For many esoteric scholars, this influence is not just historical, it is far more present than we realize. The cult of Saturn may seem like a forgotten relic of antiquity, but its influence remains visible today. From hidden symbols in multinational corporations to the presence of the Black Cube in religious temples, the power of this archetype extends across multiple fields. Some theories suggest that influential groups in society follow Saturnian principles to maintain control and structure their strategies of dominance. But what does this mean in practice? Are the principles of this cult reflected in our lives without us even noticing? Many elite brands subtly, yet consistently, use Saturn's symbolism. The hexagonal shape, associated with Saturn's North Pole, appears in logos and designs of major corporations. Black, the color linked to this planet, is worn by judges, graduates, and religious leaders. But what does this represent? In esotericism, wearing black symbolizes the absorption of light, the connection to material order, and the limitation imposed by time. Are these details mere coincidences, or is there a pattern crafted by those who understand Saturn's secrets? Even our calendar reflects Saturn's influence. Saturday, the day dedicated to Saturn, is a time for rest but also for reflection and introspection. This tradition did not emerge by chance, it dates back to ancient practices that recognized Saturn as the force governing time and discipline. In occultist orders, Saturday is often used for purification rituals and connections with ancestral energies. But was this tradition designed to benefit humanity, or to reinforce Saturn's influence over our lives? Occultism teaches us that nothing is random. Beyond symbolic manifestations, some theories suggest that certain global events follow Saturnian patterns. Cyclical crises, strategically planned disasters, and political decisions made according to specific rhythms could serve as ways to manipulate collective energy and maintain a cycle of control. The connection between Saturn and the concept of structure and restriction is reflected in the very dynamics of modern power. If the ancients saw this planet as the guardian of time and fate, could certain societies still use this knowledge to shape humanity's future? Studying the cult of Saturn is not just about the past, it is a key to understanding the present and the future. Those who grasp these symbols and their applications begin to recognize patterns that previously went unnoticed. Are we living under the influence of hidden forces that keep us within a carefully planned system? Occultism teaches that knowledge is the key to liberation, and understanding Saturnian symbolism might be the first step in breaking the cycle. But the real question is, what will you do with this information? Now that you know the mysteries of the cult of Saturn, you can no longer ignore the signs around you. This knowledge is not just theoretical, it manifests in your life, your choices, and even in the symbols you see every day. But knowing this is not enough. The real power lies in applying this understanding. Can you identify Saturn's traces in the modern world? Could you be trapped in a Saturnian cycle without realizing it? The answer lies within you. If you wish to break free from this structure and transcend the limitations imposed by the system, the first step is to open your eyes. What did you think of this knowledge? Had you ever noticed Saturnian symbols around you before? Leave the word Saturnus in the comments to activate the manifestation of knowledge and prosperity in your life. If you want to continue exploring the mysteries of occultism and esoteric symbolism, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, we uncover secrets that many prefer to keep hidden. After all, knowledge is power, and now it is in your hands. Are you ready to use it?